A raw and restless sun rises over a land that feels more imagined than real. Heat shimmers on the horizon like molten glass, bending the world into a wavering mirage. Here, in the Danakil Depression, Earth drops more than 100 meters below sea level and slips into a fever dream of fire, salt, and sulfur. The air smells of minerals and ancient breath, as if the planet is exhaling from wounds cut deep into its crust. The ground trembles with hidden unrest, whispering reminders that this is not a place shaped for human footsteps. This is Earth before life began or long after it ends. The desert floor spreads out in plates of fractured salt, white and blinding like a frozen ocean trapped in mid-motion. Footprints crunch over crystals older than memory, crystals that have witnessed centuries of relentless evaporation. Nothing grows here. Nothing shades the sky. The sun rules with merciless authority, heating the ground to temperatures that feel impossible, unreasonable, almost personal. Even the wind arrives as if exhausted, a slow, burning exhale that scours the landscape with sand fine as powdered bone. In the distance, a thin veil of vapor rises from the earth, twisting in slow spirals. As the desert heaves closer, the ground shifts from white to ochre, then to neon yellows and greens that pulse like a living organism. These are the hydrothermal fields, pools of boiling acid poisoned with sulfur and iron, bubbling in restless bursts. Their surfaces ripple with iridescent colors usually reserved for deep-sea vents or alien worlds. The air vibrates with the hiss of escaping gas, each plume drifting upward like a ghost, dissolving into the blue. The crust here is thin, fragile, a brittle shell stretched over a cauldron of magma. Beneath this trembling skin, tectonic plates pull apart with relentless force. The African continent is literally splitting open, valleys widen, rifts deepen, a new land is being born in fire. What looks desolate is, in truth, violently alive. The ground crackles, steam jets erupt in sudden bursts, minerals crystallize in seconds, painting the earth with impossible patterns. In this place, geology isn't slow, it's immediate, active, happening beneath your feet in the present tense. A salt plain stretches onward, flat and featureless, but its silence hides a paradox. What looks dead is the residue of ancient seas, oceans that once submerged the land, then vanished under the weight of time and heat. The copper sun beats down as if determined to erase the last memory of water, yet below the crust lie hidden brine lakes, trapped like forgotten worlds beneath the desert's breathless stillness. In certain moments, faint vibrations ripple upward, a reminder that the ground here is hollow, layered, alive with subterranean movement. A lone silhouette appears on the horizon, distorted by heat, not human, not animal, just the warped shadow of a rock formation rising like a fossilized wave. Around it, mirages shimmer with illusions, pools of water that vanish on approach, distant slopes that bend and dissolve. Vision becomes unreliable, distance becomes deceptive. The desert turns into a hall of mirrors made from heat and emptiness, testing the edges of perception. The sulfur fields intensify, bubbling louder, steaming thicker. Acidic pools spit droplets that sizzle into vapor before hitting the ground. Colors sharpen into electric vibrancy, lime greens, rust reds, molten golds. They swirl in patterns that look painted by an abstract hand. The ground trembles softly, a pulse rising from the magma chambers below. It's a heartbeat, slow, primeval, unmistakably alive. Closer to the volcanic ridge, the air thickens with the metallic scent of iron. Jagged rocks pull upward like ruptured bone, twisted and blackened from centuries of eruptions. These formations are young in geologic time, still sharp, still raw, still bearing the violent texture of lava frozen mid-flow. Charcoal ridges cast long shadows that cut the earth into fragments of light and dark. A low rumble travels through the ground, a deep, bass note that seems to come from the world's molten core. Ahead, Erta Ale rises, the smoking giant of the Danakil, a shield volcano that has burned for millennia. Its summit glows faintly even in daylight, a reddish shimmer hinting at the inferno beneath. The climb is a slow battle against heat, gravity, and the unending desert wind. Each step feels heavier than the last, as if the mountain itself resists being approached. As dusk falls, the world transforms. The sky dims into violet. The heat softens but does not surrender. And at the summit, the edge of the caldera yawns open like a doorway to the planet's beating heart. Lava churns in slow, hypnotic waves, glowing red, orange, white at its hottest points. Bubbles rise and burst in fiery fountains. Viscous rivers fold and collide, reshaping themselves endlessly. The glow paints the surrounding rock in blood-red shadows. Sparks leap into the air like primitive stars. Standing on the rim feels like standing at the boundary between creation and destruction. Below the volcanic glow, the desert stretches in total darkness. No lights, no outlines of villages. Only the faint shimmer of heat still rising from the earth. The silence is absolute except for the distant crackle of cooling lava and the soft rhythmic breathing of the planet. The wind carries the acrid bite of sulfur mixed with the faint scent of ash, a reminder of the constant exchange between earth and sky. Night in the Danakil does not bring cold, instead it brings a deeper stillness. The stars sharpen, unfiltered by moisture or pollution. They spill across the sky in staggering clarity, brilliant against the desert's abyssal black. Above, the universe stretches endlessly. Below, the earth burns and steams. In this place, the boundary between cosmic and terrestrial blurs. It feels as though you're standing on a young planet, still forming its crust, suspended between the night sky's quiet infinity and the volcanic roar below. From time to time, small tremors ripple across the landscape, gentle reminders that the rift system beneath your feet is widening year by year. New faults appear. Hot springs shift. Lava lakes rise and fall. What looks eternal is constantly being rewritten. The desert you stand on today may not exist tomorrow. Even the salt plains migrate, creeping across the land as wind and evaporation sculpt their surfaces. At dawn, the world reappears in surreal color. Orange light spills across the salt flats, turning the crystals into mirrors that shimmer like liquid metal. The fumaroles awaken with fresh plumes of steam. The acidic pools ignite with fluorescence. The sky grows brighter until the sun rises fully, unleashing another day of searing heat. Shadows shrink, the air thickens, the endless cycle continues. Rare life survives here, though hidden. Microbes thrive in the acidic pools, creatures so resilient they challenge the definition of survival. These organisms feed on sulfur, iron, and minerals toxic to most life. Their pigments paint the water with neon brilliance. Their existence suggests that life may take root in the harshest corners of the universe, shaping new possibilities for worlds beyond our own. This land is paradox at every turn, boiling yet dry, deadly yet beautiful, ancient yet constantly reborn. It is a place where the earth reveals its inner workings with raw honesty. No forests to conceal its faults, no rivers to soften its edges, no rain to cool its wounds, only fire, stone, salt, and time. As the sun climbs higher, the landscape begins to waver again, trembling in layers of shimmering heat. The volcanic ridge fades into haze, the salt plains brighten into blinding white, the hydrothermal pools glow like scattered jewels on a cracked, living canvas. The desert breathes, grows, shifts, evolves, a world sculpted entirely by the hand of nature, unfiltered and unforgiving. And in this place, this harsh, surreal, unearthly expanse, the planet tells its oldest story, a story written in heat and pressure, in fire and mineral, in the restless movement of a world that never stops changing. The Danakil Depression is not merely a landscape, it is a memory of Earth's childhood and a preview of its distant future, captured in the same impossible moment. Here, at the edge of creation, the world feels both ancient and newborn, brutal and magnificent, hostile and mesmerizing. A reminder that the planet we stand on is alive, and always has been. And as the light shimmers across the salt once more, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. In the heart of the world's harshest lands, beauty is not the absence of danger but the presence of wonder.